listening to my friend Gary Anderson on Night Dreams Talk Radio, the best in paranormal radio.
Boy, that is a great song. It's called Demons. I'm going to post all their information of their group and where you can buy their album on this weekend on my website at www.nightdreamstalkradio.com. They're out of France. They found my show. They like my show, and I really like their that song a lot. Well, in the news, Hulk Hogan returns to the WWE. Can you believe that? I don't even know how old he is. He has to be, well, pretty much my age. So he's older than dirt. But yeah, Saudi Arabia, he's going to get into the ring and do some good wrestling again. Well, I hate to say it, they discovered some ghost moons going around in orbit around our Earth. And the FDA has just released their okay, well, to a company to manufacture one of the most powerful painkillers ever to hit the streets. I thought they're really controlling it. I know, like with my health issue, I go in to the doctor's office, and they hand me a small prescription because the doctor told me I don't want to give you like I normally do because they're watching doctors, at least in this state, really heavy on how much, painkillers they prescribe. Anyway, that's all I'm going to talk about in the news tonight. I'm really excited to have Ronald Farnham on, and he'll be on right after this.
Please check out the Night Dreams Talk Radio website at www.nightdreamstalkradio.com. Also, if you want to keep our show free of advertising, just hit the donate button. Give a buck or two. Remember, all prior shows are always free to listen to. We at Night Dreams Talk Radio thank you for your support.
Well, Ronald, how you doing, my friend?
Hey, Gary. It's awesome to be on your show again. And it's funny, since our last time on the air, I remember you told me a court story that you had, and you gave me some info, and I applied it, and it worked. I just wanted to let you know that.
Well, I didn't know if it would work in your jurisdiction. It sure worked up here in Washington State, in the Federal Way District Court. That I did drive many years without a license, but when I just flatly said I don't have a license, and she said, "Well, did you know?" And I said, "Well, I don't feel I need one," and I didn't even get a ticket. I mean, I didn't get a fine. They dismissed it.
Yeah. Well, you told me that. You said, right, the judge said, well, you have to have a license. And you said, no, I don't. And she said, case dismissed.
Yeah.
And I remembered that. And so, and I'll make this quick, 3 weeks ago, I was driving down the road, and all of a sudden, a cop car pulled up behind me and started flashing his lights for me to pull over, and I just ignored him. And then I just drove all the way home. And when I got home, I pulled into my driveway, and the cop got out and pulled me out of my car at gunpoint and asked for my driver's license. And I remembered what you said. I said, I don't want a driver's license. I don't need a driver's license. And I don't have to have a driver's license. And I'm not a driver. And he said, oh, what are you, an operator? And I said, no, I'm a living soul. And he said, well, all I want is your name. And I said, it's my name, and it belongs to me. And if you want it, it's $500. So he threw my keys back in my car and got in his car and drove away. He said, I'm through with you. And he drove off.
Well, he knows. I mean, let's face it. Are they? When they threaten, well, if you don't sign the ticket, I can, take you into jail. You know what? Let them take you to jail because you know what?
Yeah.
Legally, you don't have to have a license. I mean, there's no law. It requires you to have a driver's license, other than
unless you're driving commercially for some company and you're a driver for a company. Then you have to have a license. But if you're just going from point A to point B and getting your grocery shopping done, no, you don't have to have a license. I don't even think you need to register your vehicle.
Well, I think there's a lot of things out there that people don't understand. The court system, if you have a good attorney who's not scared to fight, that's the issue. As you know, Michael W. Hall backed up a lot of the stuff you were saying. A lot of the laws are not really legal.
No. I know.
So
I'm excited to be on your show because you told me before when we were talking, it's all about UFOs, and I was thinking, it's weird. I've been getting so into the sovereignty movement and the law stuff with all my stuff. I forgot that I've done like 2 DVD. I have 2 projects on Amazon Prime right now, all about UFOs and alien abductions. And I was thinking, oh, wait a second. I have a lot of stuff. I have like 4 good UFO stories tonight to talk about UFOs. So I'm excited about that.
That's good. I mean, especially abductions. I got Timothy Collin is going to be on my show here, I think in about a week and a half. And he was a patient of Dr. Roger Lear. And Dr. Lear is the one who, removed the implants, and I think about 14 or 15 different, let's say, people that were abducted and had implants put in. But you know what? I talking to Michael Hall back here a couple months ago, I have a story, and I'm going to repeat it because I got to explain it to you. Back in the mid-'70s, I made a big mistake and took a job in North Carolina, and it kind of destroyed my marriage, which I'm glad it did. But anyway,
marriage ends in divorce.
Yeah. Well, I went there. I didn't like it. I didn't like the area in New Bern, North Carolina. I just didn't like it. I didn't fit in. And I came back home, and we were going through New Mexico late at night. And I can't remember. I think they had a real weird speed limit, like 105 or whatever it was. It was weird. And here I am cruising in my GTO, going as fast as I, dare go in the car without it breaking down. And all of a sudden, the car, like all around it, lit up like daylight. And inside the car, it was so bright it hurt your eyes. So I pulled over to the side of the road. And my wife was, screaming, hysterical and stuff. You're going to get a big, huge ticket. You're going to go to jail. That type of shit. And, I get out. And all I see is this bright light. I don't hear anything. Here I'm in the middle of the desert, pulled off to the side of the road. I don't hear any sounds at all. Totally quiet. Now, I was in the military. I know what egg beaters, helicopters sound like. So I started thinking, well, this isn't no helicopter, over my head. And I'm looking at this bright light or trying to, and poof, it was gone. And, I got back in the car. I didn't have a clock in my car. I don't wear a watch. I think the last watch I got for a Christmas gift 5 years ago, I used it till the battery went dead, and it's sitting in my jewelry box. I don't like watches. I don't like jewelry. So anyway.
Me either.
And what the funny thing is, I didn't think anything of it other than I was kind of scared. But, that kind of went away, that night. And then I didn't think anything of it to a few years back when one of my sons got in trouble, and I had to take him to court every month for a year. And going into this court up here in Washington State, naturally, you have to go through this metal detector and all this stuff, and they have the wands and all that stuff if you set it off. And I would set it off, and I didn't think anything of it. But, I have to take out all my change and, my belt. And I'm a big guy. You know what happens when you take your belt off? You always risk the pants dropping down to the knees type of thing when they tell you put your arms out, to your sides. Nothing holding the pants up. Oh, God, that was embarrassing that one time. But anyway, I would set the alarm off every single time. The same thing as when I went flying. I get into, they do the checks. I set the alarms off. Well, anyway, I go into my doctors, and, they do MRI and they do x-rays and all this stuff because of my health issues. And, I was sitting, this is going back, maybe 7 years ago. And I still didn't put it together here too recently. The head nurse comes in to me and talks to me. She goes, well, we know you've had your tailbone, put back together, but you got something in the middle of your back. Now, when you were in the military, was there any shrapnel? And I go, no. And she goes, yeah, we couldn't figure that out because you have no scar, or anything. And there's a piece of metal embedded near your spine. It's, pretty good size. And I'm going, I don't know how it could have got there. And then I talked to the doctor, and the doctor says, well, you got something, it's metal next to your spine. And he goes, I don't know if, there's no signs of you having surgery in that area. Because it's like 6 inches down before, where I had my